Hey guys, happy Friday. We finally made it. I don't know about you guys at home, but man, this is a long week. Couple reminders. I know Friday, I should probably send out your reminders on Monday, but probably have a test next Friday. It's going to be over exponent rules and on scientific notation stuff. Your quizzes will get graded over the weekend. I'll definitely have them in there, and then you can kind of see how you did and what you need to fix. Maybe I'll send out the key or something so you guys can check it over and see what you did wrong and figure that out so that you're good for your test. But next week we'll have a review packet and all that jazz. So we need to talk about adding and subtracting. So yesterday we did multiply and divide in scientific notation. Today we're going to add and subtract it. It's a little bit harder. So let's talk about adding. If I want to add 2, so let's say we have 4.6 times 10 to the 8th, and I'm going to add 3.77 times 10 to the 7th, let's say. All right, well, we can't do what we did with multiplying, because that's the multiplication rule and we're doing addition here. And obviously that's not going to work because, it's not the addition rule. So we can't just add those exponents together. So you have 2 options here, okay? I want to kind of go through both so you can see it and then kind of talk you through them. So the first thing you can do is just straight old school, write these numbers out in the longest way possible. Make them into standard form. Move it 8 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. Do the same thing over here. Move it 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then add those numbers like you used to when you were in elementary school. Just go straight up and down. The problem people have with that is they forget you have to line them up at the decimal. All right, you don't just start over here and do 3 plus 4. So when I write this number out, 1, 2, 7 zeros, I gotta line this one up underneath it on the right side, right? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 5. And we had a 7, and a 3. So if I want to do it this way, it does kind of suck writing them out, and then you got to line them up. So many people have marked wrong when they didn't line them up. You can't just do the 3 and the 4. Line them up at the end of the number. And then when you add straight down, this part's super duper easy, right? But then another thing that's not great is they always want the answer in scientific notation. So now I got to put it back in scientific notation. Put the decimal after the first number that's not 0. Count your spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my final answer here would be 4.977 times 10 to the 8th. And if I add those 2 together, that's exactly what I'm going to get. Now you might say, Mr. Odie, that was a whole lot of work just to add those 2 things together. You're 100% correct. It was a lot of work. So maybe that's not the method for you. I will say people who do this the long way typically get it right. As long as you line up your decimal, you should have no problem. The other thing you can do, so keep this answer in mind because it's going to be the same answer when we do it this time. The other thing we can do is if we can get these 10s to be the same power, then we can just keep it that power and then add the 2 numbers out in front. All right, so one word of caution. If I want to change an exponent, I'm always going to change it to make it smaller. So I'm going to make the 8 into a 7 so that it matches this 10 to the 7th over here. But what happens when this becomes a 7? Well, let's take a look at that number in standard form one more time. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I wanted that 10 to be a 7 and it would only move 7 spaces, where would that decimal have to go? Well, I'm going to count from this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. After the 6. So if I change that number into 10 to the 7th, it would be 46 times 10 to the 7th. Now I know that's not in scientific notation right now, but we're going to worry about that later, okay? So now that they're both 10 to the 7ths, I can just leave 10 to the 7th, and I can add the two numbers out in front. Again, making sure that you line them up at the decimal point, just like old school math. When you were little and you used to do this all the time. So we're going to get 7, we're going to get 7, we're going to get a 9, we're going to get a 4, like that. Right? But, again, it's not in scientific notation at the end. We have to change it back. So if it moves 7 spaces from here, we actually want it to be back where it was to start this problem after the 4. So if it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, from here that would be an extra space. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my final answer, which is the same answer we got before, is 4.977 times 10 to the 8th. So I'm just going to say neither of these are great. It just sucks to do this kind of. I would say practice both and just see which one you like better or which one you're getting the answers right on. And then I'll be like, you know what? I'm going with that one all the time. Find the one that works for you and go with it. There's a lot of things in math where there's lots of ways to get there. I always advocate for find the one that you can do, find the one that works well, and just go with that one forever. Okay? So for addition, you have the choice. Write them out, add them up, or change the exponents. How long are we going so far? 7 minutes? Man, that's crazy. I was going to do another add. I'm going to do one more adding one. I'll try to go quick. I'm going to pull the camera in a little bit so you don't need to see my face, right? All right, let's do 5.6 times 10 to the negative third plus 8.114 times 10 to the negative fifth. All right, same idea, right? So if you want to change the exponents, you can do that, but you want to make the bigger one, remember this is bigger than that this time, into the smaller one. So if I want to change this to a negative 5, 1, 2, 3, where would it move 5 spaces from? Well, this would be 4, this would be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be 560 times 10 to the negative fifth. And I know that's super weird, right? Because we're not writing in scientific notation. It's kind of intuitive, like where is going to be 5 spaces, you know, understanding math a little bit. That's tricky. This is the harder way, I would say. So if that, you know, do it the other way if you think that. Add these two together. We're going to keep 10 to the negative fifth. All I got to do is 560 plus 114. And so that's going to go straight down. 11865. And then again, I need to fix it. So my exponent needs to go there. If I move it 5 spaces from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From here, that's only 1, 2, 3. You know, we're basically undoing what we did up top here. So my decimal is going to go back after the 5. I have all these decimals, and now it's going to be times 10 to the negative third. And if you wanted to write it out and do it that way, I'll do that real quick over here. So 1, 2, 3. This one is 8.114. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure you line them up at the decimal. I'm looking at you now because I know what people are going to mess up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Add them straight down. And you can see we're going to get the exact same thing when I put it back in scientific notation. 1, 2, 3 to the left. 5.68114 times 10 to the negative third. So that's up to you. It's not going to be fun either way. But if they already have the same exponent, that's actually not so bad. And subtraction is going to work the exact same way. All right, so if I'm subtracting, I'm going to do the same thing. Except for instead of adding those numbers in the front, I'm going to subtract those numbers. So it's going to work the exact same way. So let's say we had 5.7 times 10 to the 8th minus 4.4 times 10 to the 7th. Okay? So again, you can choose. I'll do both right here. Just one example of both and show you it's the same thing. So we can make the 10 to the 8th and do it 7. All right? Up top here, can you guys see that if I write up there? You can. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Where would it move 7 spaces from? Probably right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So it'd be 57. And then that would be minus 4.4. Now they both have 10 to the 7ths. And I would just on the side do 57 minus 4.4. Notice we still have to match it up at the decimal. And this is going to be, like old school subtraction where I'm going to borrow. I'm sure you guys all love doing that, right? So it'd be 52.6 times 10 to the 7th. And then again at the end, not pretty. Didn't work out for me. So I got to put it back in scientific notation. 7 spaces to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you can probably tell already that if I move it there, it's going to be 8. We got an extra space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my final answer is going to be 5.26 times 10 to the 8th when I subtract those two. And that makes sense. We did get a smaller number than what we started with. So that would, make sense. And then again, if I wanted to do it the other way, real quick here, because I'm about to fall asleep. Put them both in the standard form. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do it with the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then make sure you match them up at the decimal where it is now. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 4, 4. And just subtract straight down. Borrow. 10 minus 4 is 6. 6 minus 4 is 2. And 5 minus nothing is still 5. And of course, put it back into scientific notation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's your 5.26 times 10 to the 8. All right. I know not the most fun lesson, especially on a Friday. This is just one of those things. The good news is when we talk about story problems next week, most of the story problems have to do with multiplication or division. So I mean, I have seen release questions from AIR tests that had addition and subtraction on there, but not many. So that's good news for something that kind of sucks. Yeah. Cool. Your worksheet, I gave you like 6 of each. They're good practice because you're going to need the practice. There's definitely going to be one of each of these on your test next week. You guys have an awesome weekend. We only have 2 more weeks of the grading period. Make sure all your stuff is in. If you have anything missing, make sure you check Power School. And after your quizzes are in, your grades will be completely up to date. So, awesome. You guys have a great weekend. Later.